What's going on, guys? Kevin Fox here from Fox Fishing 4K. People have been asking a lot of questions about the baits we're using, how we're catching these fish, how we're getting so many, etc., etc. So I thought I'd start early with the reports, but we're still out in the boat, guys. So first report here is first week of open water was absolutely incredible for these fish. First week, first couple of days, tons of big burbot. We got some absolute giants. We got lots of whitefish. The opening morning, we didn't get that many. I think we got 15. That afternoon, they really turned on. We got, I think, like 42, 43 or something like that for the day. Bite was definitely a mix between vibrato and soft plastics on a high hook. The high hook is definitely key. It brings in about 60 to 80% of our bites, especially in that deep water. All the whitefish, lake trout, and the burbot were all in, I would say, 115 to 124. Especially that 118 to 120. They were really hanging there the first week. We had a couple of days, they were good. Lately, it really slowed down in Kemp. We went out the other day, we got a few fish. They were really tiny, like small guys, like 2-pounders. The schools were all scattered. There was a couple big pockets of fish, but a lot of just roamers. We would drive around using live scope in 118, 120 again. Drop down on these fish, and we would catch one out of the school. The school would move, and we'd start roaming again. We pushed in real shallow. We went all the way into 60 feet and worked our way out with live scope to 60, 70, 80, 90, right back out. Most of the fish were still hanging in that 118 to 120. The last trip out, we went out again, and those fish were really shut down. We even brought minnows with us. This is one of the first times I've ever even fished minnows for whitefish, but we thought that might help with the bite. And it didn't. We got maybe 4 fish on the minnows. They were still keying in on soft plastics.
We still on them.
So we ended up pushing out deeper, and it was a lot better. I had a vibrato on for weight. You need some kind of weight to get you down to the bottom. I was with Mitch Lynch and Matthew Savia. Savia had a vibrato on with a small little microplastic. Mitch was using a Meigs tipped with a minnow on the bottom for weight, and I was using a vibrato with minnows on a high hook. And we sucked. We sucked. We really struggled, guys. Like, I don't mind to admit that that morning was absolutely brutal. I hooked into 4. I lost all 4 of mine. Savia hooked and missed a couple, and then he ended up landing 2 or 3 fish. Mitch and I were still using minnows, and he was using small plastics on an upper hook. So at that point, I'm like, okay, I was really trying with the minnows, and I figured, okay, I'm done with these things. I'm switching to plastics. It's very rare that plastics work better than live bait, but Matthew has proven it to be the case.
Let's see. Holy.
So I took a Stealth Invader, I threw it on. Actually, before I threw it on, I bit the head off it, so it was a smaller profile to kind of match the size profile that Savia was dropping. So put that on, dropped down within, I bet you 2 minutes, 3 minutes, not even 30 seconds of being on the bottom. I started jigging. I hooked up.
I got one too.
So we're obviously a soft plastic bite, and we continued on. We improved a little bit more, but there wasn't a lot of fish, guys. There wasn't a lot of fish. So what we decided was to head out deep water. We're like, hey, forget the whitefish. Let's just head out for Lakers. There was a couple other guys out there. Markinen, Matt Parent, they had a wicked day. I saw their post on Instagram, and they're cracking like 8 or 10 Lakers. So I'm like, okay, forget the whitefish. These things are shut down. Let's go for some Lakers. So we headed out out into the deeper water, open bay. We set up in about 128 feet of water, 129 feet. The marks on the bottom weren't really looking like Lakers. That one shot up like a 90 degree, like it rocketed up. It could have been a Laker. But the rest of the marks I was seeing on the bottom, I said to the guys, I'm like, live scope's telling me these look like whitefish down here, man. These look like whitefish. There was one other boat out there. He came over to us and asked us how we're doing. We told him we just set up, and he confirmed that they were all whitefish down there. And even some of them were streaking up on those guys. So thanks for the tips, guys. I appreciate that. I don't know who you are or didn't get your name, but I think it was a legend. It was a pale colored legend, the guys that came up. So we immediately took off our big swim baits and went back to our whitefish gear, and we instantly started hooking up. And I would say 60 to 80% of bites were still on that upper plastic. I did get a couple fish on the vibrato, but the thing was only like 2 of them were in the mouth. The other ones were getting hooked in the side and stuff. There was just so many fish down there that we ended up hooking them with the vibrato. But the ones that were in the mouth, took 2 on the vibrato and the rest were all on soft plastics. And what I did is I thought maybe the bite would even improve more if I took the Stealth Invader. It has a paddle tail, bite the paddle off and just have it like a little tiny worm, which we've done in the winter before on a high hook, like a smaller presentation. Wouldn't even touch it. They didn't like it. So I was like, dang it. Those went back in the box, and I went back to a Stealth Invader with just the head bitten off with the paddle tail, and just started doing waves and tap in the mud with the vibrato, like going right down, banging the bottom, lifting up, and that's how we were able to get our fish.
Ooh.
The fish are still hanging out really, really deep. They haven't pushed in shallow chasing bait that I know of. Water temp in the bay, Kempenfelt, was just over 34, and out in the outer bay was 36. So with 34 temps in the bay, we're getting cooler, but they're still not hovering right around that freezing range. And 36 in the outer bay, well, we can just go forget about that. So I don't know, guys. We need some colder temperatures. I just thought I'd do this report anyways. If you're planning on heading out in the boat this week or this weekend, they're deep. Get yourself a vibrato, get yourself some soft plastics on those high hooks. Stealth Invader, bite the head off. You're going to be guaranteed to probably get some fish. So there you go, guys. There's a report. So this was all in Kempenfelt Bay. Didn't try anywhere else, just there and out at the mouth and just out by Oro Shoal. Tried those areas. So if you want to get out there and try to get some fish, that'd be my recommendation. So have a good one, guys, and let's pray for some ice. And once we get some ice and I'm getting some more fish on Simcoe through the ice, I'll do more of these reports to find what's working for me. You might be out there pounding them. You might be getting stuff, a lot more fish on other baits. That's cool. This is just my own experience. You don't have to do this, but if you're heading out and you want to see what I'm doing, you can kind of build on that knowledge. So take it for what you will. Have a good day. Stay safe, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace. Bye-bye.